You're watching Connecting the Dots, reliving Northwoods history with Carrie Bladorn.
There's a special feeling when you step inside an old library, like walking into a forest just after the snow settles. An idea that took hold over 100 years ago was that people deserve to have knowledge at their fingertips. And that idea was strengthened by a remarkable philanthropic gesture that helped build libraries in small towns across the United States, including right here in northern Wisconsin. In the Northwoods of Wisconsin, the communities of Rhinelander, Merrill, Antigo, Medford, and Ladysmith all benefited from the Carnegie Library movement, each one a brick-and-mortar expression of the belief that knowledge should belong to everyone. Andrew Carnegie immigrated from Scotland in 1848 and rose from poverty to become one of the richest industrialists of the Gilded Age with his iron and steel company. Late in life, he turned his energy toward giving his fortune away, guided by what he called the gospel of wealth, the belief that those with means were obligated to support the public good. In the last 18 years of his life, he donated more than $350 million, about $6.9 billion today, to causes across the nation. His favorite vehicle was the public library. From the 1880s to 1919, Carnegie financed nearly 1,700 public libraries in the United States, including 63 in Wisconsin. The idea was simple. He would fund the construction, and the community would promise to support it through taxation and keep it free and open to all. That model helped solidify what we now consider a cornerstone of American civic life, the public library as an institution. In the early 1900s, Rhinelander received a $15,000 Carnegie grant, thanks in large part to the Rhinelander Women's Club, whose members wrote directly to Andrew Carnegie and pledged the local support needed to secure the funds. Fittingly, the Brown Brothers Lumber Company donated the site the library would be built on. The library opened in 1904 and has served its community for over a century. While additions and renovations have been made over the decades, the Carnegie-era building remains the nucleus of the current library, with much of its original features, including its front entrance intact.
South of Rhinelander lies Merrill's Carnegie-funded library, backed by a $17,500 grant from Andrew Carnegie and completed in 1911. The project was born from an earlier gift by lumberman Thomas B. Scott, Merrill's first mayor, whose bequest laid the groundwork for public library service in the city. The library still bears his name today. Designed by the architectural firm Claude & Stark, the building is listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. More than a century later, the original structure remains in active service as Merrill's public library, making it one of the longest continuously operated Carnegie libraries in the state. Antigo's Carnegie Library opened in 1905, serving the community for nearly a century. When a new library was constructed in the late 90s, the Carnegie Building found a second life as the home of the Langlade County Historical Society Museum, which had occupied a room there since the 30s, a fitting continuation of its role as steward of Antigo and Langlade County's history. Its repurposing reflects one of the quiet strengths of Carnegie architecture. These buildings continue to serve even if they outlive their use as a library. Medford's Carnegie Library was opened in 1917 after the community secured a grant from the Carnegie Corporation and hired architect Hans Theodor Liebert to design a quaint prairie school-style building that still stands at the southern end of Medford's Main Street. It served as a public library until 1998, when the collection was moved to a new facility. The old Carnegie, sturdy and full of character, found a second life. Today, the historic structure houses the Medford Chamber of Commerce, continuing its long tradition of anchoring community life in the heart of Taylor County. Ladysmith's Carnegie Library was built in 1907 after the community secured a generous grant during the height of the Carnegie Library movement. For decades, it served as the town's center for reading, learning, and public life, its brick architecture standing proudly along the Flambeau River. When library services moved to a modern facility, the historic building was given a new life. The former Carnegie Library operates as a charming boutique hotel, where guests can quite literally spend the night inside a piece of American library history. Carnegie libraries were more than collections of books. They became landmarks of learning. At a time when northern Wisconsin communities were still young and rough around the edges, a library signaled the desire for permanence and cultural growth. They became year-round public gathering spaces, centers for English and citizenship instruction, reading rooms for workers and families, safe havens for children, and meeting halls for community life. For many Northwoods kids, whose parents worked the local farms, forests, and mills, these buildings opened windows into worlds far beyond the pine groves of the Northwoods.
More than a century later, most of these Carnegie buildings survive, some still lending books, others reborn as museums or community spaces. So, whether you find yourself walking through Merrill's or Rhinelander's still busy doors, or visiting Anago's museum, or by the historic structures in Medford and Ladysmith, take a moment to appreciate them. These are more than just libraries. They are monuments to a simple, powerful belief that every person deserves the chance to learn, to grow, and to shape their own story. I'm Carrie Bladorn, and you're watching Connecting the Dots, reliving Northwoods history on Newswatch 12.